Hi, I'm Ems, aka on Dark and Wings. So this is part 2 of how I paint my Lamenter Sternguard Spacemarines. Part 1 will be in the description below. Firstly, I'm painting the cloth parts, and I'm mixing Fenrisian grey with white. It's always better to start off with an off-white when you're painting white. Next, I'm using Necro Grey. This is an off-black colour, but you can use black paint. So I'm blocking in the gun areas here and those sort of ridged parts as well, which are in between the armour panels. As I said in the first video, if you do make mistakes, you can quickly wipe it away with some water on the brush or your finger. Or if it's more difficult, you can use a thinning spirit with a cotton swab. I also painted some of the side pouches in that black colour. You could grab any brown you want to for the leather parts, but I'm using Mornfang Brown. It's a really nice rich colour. So I'm using this on the gun holster and some of the other pouches, as well as the straps on the rifle. So next up, I'm grabbing an ivory colour, so like a bleached bone type of colour, and I'm going over the purity seals. So here you want to grab whatever red that you want to. I'm using a bright red, so my fist on red, and I'm going over the waxes on the purity seals as well as some of the other emblems on the model. So next up I'm doing some metallics, so I'm grabbing a pale gold and I'm grabbing a graphite, which is a really nice blue silver colour. These are both from Darkstar. I highly recommend these metallics, and I do have a video reviewing them. The chest emblem I'm going to do in that pale gold. And the rest of the metallic areas, so the gun barrel and that bit on the back of the backpack and so on and so forth, I'm going to do in silver. And it's a lovely colour, it has that blue tinge to it, which contrasts nicely with the yellow armour. You could leave it at this point now if you wanted to, as all the areas have been blocked out with paint. However, I'm going to be adding some more highlights and shadows. So back in the cloth areas now, I'm mixing that grey and white together, but I'm adding a lot more white this time with just a hint of blue. The blue will contrast nicely with the yellow armour, and it'll look a lot cleaner and more like a porcelain white than if I went with the beige colour. I'm just going over the raised areas and leaving that original colour in the recesses. So I'm highlighting the gun and all of the other black areas we painted earlier. So I'm mixing Thunderhawk Blue with that Necro Grey, or you can mix black and Thunderhawk Blue. So this is in a 50-50 mix, and I'm edge highlighting the black areas now. It's always better to build your highlights up gradually. That's why I mixed a bit of that base colour in with the highlights. It won't look as jarring, because if we just added the Thunderhawk Blue, it would stand out too much. The same can be said for all highlights. It's always good to build them gradually, adding a bit of the previous colour in first of all. Now I'm adding the highlights with the Thunderhawk Blue. So the first highlights I added were on a lot more areas, and now we're using less areas, so going over the previous work but making sure the lines are thinner and not going over as many parts. Obviously you won't be able to see it on the camera, but the previous layers are built up gradually now and they look a lot better than if we just put this colour down first. And again another blue colour, which will contrast nicely with the yellow quite subtly. So you can build the highlights up even more if you want to. So again, cover less areas and you'll leave thinner. So you can mix white in with the Thunderhawk blue, or you can add like that thin Merizian grey if you want to the Thunderhawk blue. Next I use the black paint wash, and I use this over the silver areas and the leather straps and pouches. I then went back over the silver and the leather areas with the original colours to neat them off. I did this off camera. Then mixed Mournfang Brain with Deathclaw Brain. I really like Deathclaw Brain. So I use this to highlight the leather areas, so the straps and the pouches. Lastly, I worked on the purity seals. So I did some wavy lines to represent writing with a small sharp brush. I just used some black paint. So after that, I just grabbed a dark paint, so Wildwood Contrast, so like an Agrax wash, and then I washed that over the top of the purity seals once the writing had dried. And that's me finished. So here are the final results. Thank you for watching. As always, remember to enjoy your hobbies for yourself, respect the people who enjoy them in their own ways, and at the end of the day, they're just war dollies. I'll see you in the next one.